Hey there everyone, and welcome back. This is the semifinals of the Southeast Asia Legends Cup number 9. My name is Spellruler, and this is the semifinals between Staz and Kapi. Staz playing Warlock, Kapi playing Druid, and it looks like we got that spectator bug all ironed out right now. So thank you all so much for being patient. Of course, I've enjoyed spending time with you in chat as well. So looks like Kapi is gonna coin for a Wrath here just to get rid of that imp because he doesn't want to take too much damage there. So already expended one of his 2 Wraths. Staz is gonna go ahead and drop the Haunted Creeper. Now both players with Dr. Boom in hand. Kapi wants to gain a little bit of momentum here, get his crystals here, and it was quite good that he used that Wrath early on. I mean, he did sacrifice one of the Wraths that he had, and it's quite an impactful card as well for the cost, but still, it does allow his health values stay a little bit higher because he didn't really have anything realistically to play. He'll like have something to play once the next turn comes, which is like turn 5. At which point it will be the Azure Drake. So he's trying to keep the damage to minimal here. Now, Direwolf Alpha or Knife Juggler, I would have probably played a Direwolf Alpha here because it will just do 2 damage. It's a 2 damage buff to what you are doing right now. So Kapi now has the swipe, so he can get rid of 2 of the creatures on Staz's field. Or Kapi could just drop the Ancient of Lore and drop it on the Direwolf, and that would be a hit on one of the minions, and it would reduce Staz's damage output by 2 for what he has on the field at the very least. So it has to make a conscious decision here. So it looks like he is going to use that Keeper to do 2 damage, get rid of the Direwolf Alpha, and now Staz sitting at 5 mana. Imp Gang Boss to be the likely choice here unless he wants to tap, but goes for Knife Juggler first to get that 1 damage off. Does get it off onto Kapi, so that's pretty good for him as well. It's going to sacrifice his Spider to potentially do 2 more damage. 1 dagger landing into Keeper, 1 dagger landing into Kapi. So it's actually going to not sacrifice his Argid Squire to do the 1 damage onto the Keeper. So Shapeshift to get rid of 1, but the swipe will take care of everything on the field. So Kapi does take a little bit of damage, but he has now the dominating board there. 1 imp will spawn though, but that Keeper still living on with 1 health. Now Staz gonna go ahead and drop the Implosion. See how much he will get. We'll get 3 imps for his troubles, so could be worse, could be better. I guess he got like the middle of it. Double Doomguard. Now that's something you don't want to see early on. That's something you don't want to see because you always have the risk of discarding 1 Doomguard with the other, and like there are a lot of high value cards in Staz's hand or as well, like the Lopheb and the Dr. Boom, and you don't want to discard those. So Staz replying to Dr. Boom with Dr. Boom. Boombot landing into Staz. Second Boombot is gonna launch itself into Dr. Boom itself, only doing 1 damage though. But Kapi does have a big game hunter for his troubles next turn. And I think that Kapi is just doing the math, like how much do I need here? And doing the math with all of you. That would be 13 damage in total, plus 1 for the Shapeshift. If he actually does decide to innervate, but takes it slow, goes for the face damage, and Staz now sitting at 8. It's taking a little bit of a risk here because if Staz like has Doomguard and like power overwhelming and all that good stuff, then of course that will hurt a lot. So 1 Boombot landing into the Azure Drake, getting rid of it. And now Staz has to figure out what he's going to do about that Dr. Boom, because he needs to get rid of it. If he doesn't get rid of it, then he will lose, but does get rid of it with a well-timed boom bot of Dr. Boom. And the low feb dropped as well, and leaving Staz at 8 hit points. And now Kapi can't play his combo, but if he survives next turn, if I were Kapi, I would just heal myself up, because he does have the Innervate and he can play double Force of Nature next turn. Double Force of Nature is going to ensure the victory here, unless Staz finds a way to do 23 damage in one go. Let's take a quick look at how much damage he does have out on the field. Has 12 damage straight up out on the field, and with the Beam Guard has another 5, but it's not going to be enough to take care. So it looks like Kapi is going to win this one, like, unless he by some reason does not figure out he has lethal, but I'm sure he does, which is why he healed himself instead of drawing cards. So the well played comes out. Kapi drawing card, which is another Innervate, and if it isn't obvious, wasn't obvious before, then it sure is now. Shapeshift as well for 1 extra damage. Has lethal, and Kapi will win game 1 of this best of 5. So congratulations to Kapi winning the first game of our best of 5 series, the semifinals. So we're going to set up game 2 for you as fast as possible. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
Versus Gul'dan. Gul'dan versus Garrosh.
Victory or death! Your soul shall be mine!
Hey there, welcome back everyone. This is game 2 of the best of 5 between Staz and Kapi in the semifinals of our Southeast Asia Legends Tournament number 9. So Kapi has won the first game with Druid, has now switched over to Warrior. So let's see how that is going to turn out for him. Staz still playing Warlock, hasn't really turned out to be that great, as Kapi did have a fair number of cards that could clear out the entire board for him. Now Staz thinking about what he should do. So he can coin tap, or he can glitch out on me, because that's what Hearthstone Spectator client sometimes does, but I'll get that hopefully fixed with another refresh. So again, apologies for that. So hopefully we are good right now. So it looks like Staz has created quite the board here. Kapi sitting at 25 now. Cruel Taskmaster needs to clear out that abusive Sergeant. So it looks like the Cruel Taskmaster was a little bit more ruthless. So it looks like Staz has a good momentum going on here, but Kapi does have a Whirlwind to take care of like everything that will be coming up next. So definitely has to play the Whirlwind at this point more than ever to clear out the field. But Frothing Berserker going to be used to combo with that. So that's going to be one strong Frothing Berserker, as it will get all those buffs and turn into 9-3, but Staz has the answer in the form of the Iron Beak Owl to kind of quieted down. And the Imp Gang boss dropped as well. Coin will be used to get the Argent Squire out. So Staz just keeps making a field. It has a good momentum here. Frothing Berserker probably has to be used to take care of that Iron Weak Owl, if anything. No, is going to use it on the Argent Squire. I guess that makes sense because it does remain a 2-2 at that point. Cards get reduced in Kapi's hand, but honestly, it doesn't really matter too much because his Execute was only 1 mana, his Inner Rage was already 0, and his Frothing Berserker was the most expensive, sitting at 4. So him spawning, and Staz just keeps dropping the minions here, and it looks like Staz is heading well on his way here to tie up the scores. The Grim Patron, the card that Kapi was looking for, the Inner Rage now being dropped here. That's gonna trigger that Grim Patron chain here, slowly but surely. Execute onto the Imp Gang boss. It looks like it, but Kapi already realized that was a small mistake. No cards in hand to use that Emperor Force on. So Grim Patron, such a strong card. Like it is a 3/3 for 5 mana, which is like cost efficient wise, it isn't the best. But the good part about it is once you get that one copy of it out on the field, and you do manage to trigger its effect, and it just goes on and on and on and on. You just have like a field full of Grim Patrons that your opponent just can't get rid of, like unless your opponent has like something massive. And Warlock does have a way to get rid of the entire field, like with the Shadow Flame, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But they need that big minion to actually use it on, like the Nerubian or like the Sea Giant. So now what is gonna happen? Kapi out of cards. Is he gonna sacrifice his Emperor to get rid of that of one of the 2/4/4 creatures? He's gonna start losing. The Grim Patrons, regardless. If Staz just decides to go for them instead of the other minions. So Emperor Force on, killing off 1. Grim Patron killing itself off as well as Staz, only having to face 1 Grim Patron. Can just take care of it with his Sea Giant at this point. Loatheb to add insult to injury, making sure that Kapi can't play anything. Now Staz with a great momentum here. Armors up and gets a Whirlwind, but again, doesn't matter a whole bunch. Imp Gang boss now drawn as well, and Staz just has all the momentum in this game. And there's nothing that Kapi can do unless he, I don't know if he plays the Brawl card, but that would like literally be his only saving grace, like playing the Brawl and making sure the Nerubian egg survives. But all he can do is take hit after hit after hit, and there's going to be another 6 damage landing onto Kapi with in buffs in the form of Power Overwhelming and Abusive Sergeant if he does decide to play it. So has let's see here, 15 damage on the field in total, and he can buff that up to 23 if I'm not mistaken.
My shield for Argus.
So that would leave Kapi with 1 hit point, but is gonna go ahead, and I think he does have lethal at this point here. So Abusive Sergeant being dropped in addition with the Power Overwhelming. That Knife Juggler doing the trick, and Staz equaling up the score 1-1. So congratulations to Staz, who managed to tie up the scores 1-1. So both players only needing 2 more victories to move on towards the finals. We'll be setting that up for you as fast as possible. In the meantime, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Garrosh versus Garrosh.
Victory or death! I will crush you!
Mind if I roll need?
Hey there everyone, welcome back. This is game 3 in the semifinals between Staz and Kapi. This is a best of 5. I'm still your host, Spellruler, and this is the Southeast Asia Legends Tournament number 9, hosted by ESL and casted by myself. So it looks like we have a warrior mirror match, so we're in for either a very long game or a very short game, depending on the outcome. But looking at the cards in both players' hands, we're in here for the long haul, it seems. So, Fiery War Axe, Gnomish Inventor, Frothing Berserker, and Warsong Commander for Kapi, with a Loot Hoarder out on the field, and a Cruel Taskmaster, an Acolyte of Pain, a Sledge Belcher, a Coin, a Shield Block, and that was it for Staz. But it looks like Spectator Mode is having issues, so I'm gonna restart that because it was already clear that Staz uses Mana Crystals.
Pass me that Arclight water!
So welcome back. I'm sorry for that. Spectator Mode does sometimes bug out. So let's take a look here. Coin plus Sledge Belcher is dropped. And there, despite now being hovered over, Acolyte of Pain being the card of choice.
Pain, speak to me.
Whirlwind played by Kapi just to get a card drawn there. Execute is going to take care of that Sludge Belcher. Staz gaining a lot of armor, regardless. So now sitting at 31. Another Armor Smith to add up to that. Can play the Armor Smith and the Shield Block, or Armor Smith and Cruel Taskmaster, and Acolyte of Pain. There's a lot of cute stuff that Staz can do at this point. Like nothing too major, nothing to make like a really big impact on the game. Since Staz and Kapi are running 2 different variants of the warrior build. Like Kapi is actually playing a warrior, and Staz is kind of pretending to be a tank, I guess, with all the armor he is trying to stack.
What now?
So Staz is gonna take care of that Acolyte of Pain with the attack of his Fiery War Axe, it seems. And I guess you don't want to give more cards than needed to a warrior decks like Kapi's. time is running out here, as we are in a time limit, of course. So Kapi is going to take the damage, and they're Frothing Berserker being drawn here. Old Acolyte of Pain and Cruel Taskmaster being dropped, so gains a little bit more armor from that too. So now the Shield Slime drawn. And Kapi is slowly gathering his combo pieces, but he's still missing the major one that makes this deck work. So Kapi is trying to find a way to stall out this one. Has to sacrifice something here. So what Kapi can do is, let's see what he has here. Fiery War Axe is his availability, a Whirlwind, and Frothing Berserker. So he definitely does not want to use that that Whirlwind, but what he can do is he can play that Frothing Berserker, attack with the Fiery War Axe into the Acolyte of Pain after attacking the Gnomish Inventor. Just bump up that Frothing Berserker as much as possible, but not too much, of course, since the Shield Slime is still alive. And I'm pretty sure that Staz is going to use that one to just take care of that Frothing Berserker without too many issues. Or actually, Staz might just use the Big Game Hunter to snipe it down, which is also a very clever play because you do get a minion in return for it. Staz sniping down the Frothing Berserker shield block, now coming in. And I think Staz is just saving those shield slams for what's to come, the Grim Patron. So Emperor Forason, reducing the cost of 1 for each card in Kapi's hand, which are all pretty much low value cards to begin with. Like the most expensive one was the Grim Patron, but now only costing 4 mana. Shield Slam taking care of that one. Shield Maiden buffing Staz up, and now Kapi can start to go a little bit crazy here, as he can drop the Frothing Berserker, Warzone Commander, and the Grim Patron in one go if he so chooses. But here's the thing, Staz does have a way to get rid of a few, but not all. So now that Kapi is sitting on 4 Grim Patrons, there isn't really a way to get rid of all 4 of them. So or all 3 of them. Like, here's the reason why. So he had to use that Shield Maiden to get rid of one of them, the Shield Slime to get rid of the second one, and the Death's Bite to get rid of the third one. But then the 4th one came, and Staz just couldn't take care of that one. So Staz is now kind of running on the back burn here, because Kapi does not have a way to trigger his Grim Patrons for the next turn, unless he draws into something. But Frothing Berserker is going to help out. Death's Bite, if he equips it, is going to help out a lot as well for the next, if he still has it, for the next 2 turns. But this is Kapi's all or nothing kind of gamble here. So Shield Slam on the 1 Grim Patron going to be used. Barongeddon to be used. And it is going to burn everything down. It's going to leave 1 Grim Patron out on the field. So now I'm kind of wondering how Kapi wants to play this one out, because he is seemingly going to lose all of his Grim Patrons regardless next turn, no matter how he plays it out. Because Warsong Commander doesn't really matter too much, because Kapi, if he doesn't attack in the Barongeddon, then Staz will just attack with the Barongeddon into the Grim Patron and use the Death's Bite to get rid of the other. But looks like Kapi is doing a risky move here. I think he's gonna go Death's Bite and attack with the Frothing Berserker after that. No, he isn't. He's actually saving the Grim Patron, or actually saving the Frothing Berserker in favor of the Grim Patron, and now Staz can take care of that one as well with his own Deathbite. Sylvanas Windrunner out as well, but Staz has to armor up first, bring out that Armor Smith, or otherwise it is all going to be for nothing, really. So there isn't really a way for
What now?
Kapi to do 21 damage in one go. I have to look over it quickly. So he has 14 out on the field right now, so he needs another 7. If he does trigger that Death's Bite, it might be a little bit more because like he gets a Grim Patron for it as well, and plus the Frothing Berserker will get some extra attack as well. So it'll get +3 if I'm not mistaken, so that'll turn into an 8-4. So that's like 17 damage at the very least. So, but Staz decided to take care of it this way, attacking with his own Deathbite. Now Kapi drawing into a Battle Rage, and he can replenish his hand quite nicely with that one. So he's gonna draw 3 cards for that one. Gets another Grim Patron for his trouble as well, and he might just have lethal here depending on what cards he is gonna draw. Battle Rage is gonna be the card played. Grommash, Hellscream, and an Execute, but I think that Grommash is gonna be enough here. Just let me do the math real quick here. So it's actually missing out on 2 damage in total, so it's sitting at a kind of a finicky spot here. Can't play the Grommash just now, so he just decides to go for another Grim Patron. And that one will get charged as well. That's 9 damage landing onto Staz, who only has 3 health remaining. Is there anything that Staz can do? He has to burn himself back to 15 with all extra, so that's his only option, really. But it doesn't even matter with Grommash out on the field the next turn. I don't think it will, because dropping Grommash will ensure that Staz has exactly that Kapi has exactly 15 damage, because the 3 patrons end up being 9 damage. Morris on Commander 11, and Grommash is going to be 15. So Staz burning himself to 15, but it doesn't even matter, and the Inner Rage is what seals the deal, boosting up that Grommash if he even wants to, boosting it up to let's see, I think it's a 12-8 at that point. Grommash is dropped, the Well Played comes out, another 3, and Kapi deciding to keep it classy, deciding to attack with a non-enraged Grommash, and makes it so the score is 1-2. So Kapi 1 game away from being our first finalist. We're gonna set that game up for you as fast as possible. In the meantime, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with some more Hearthstone.
Versus Gul'dan.
Your soul shall be mine! Victory or death!
Hey there everyone, welcome back. This is game 4 between Staz and Kapi. Staz playing Warrior, Kapi playing Warlock, so Kapi only needing one more win to move towards the finals. Staz needing to win the next 2 games in a row, so let's see how this is gonna turn out. Now Kapi drawing into Hellfire has some good cards: Ancient Watcher, Iron Beak Owl, Siphon Soul, Sledge Belcher, Sunfury Protector, Twilight Drake, Lord Jaraxxus, and Hellfire. Armor Smith for Staz, Execute, Deathbite, Fiery War Axe, Big Game Hunter, and double Shield Maze. So Staz is in a pretty good spot here. Kapi is going to play that Twilight Drake, but Staz is well on his way to gain a lot of armor here. But of course, if those armor smiths do die, then it's not going to get anything out of them. So Staz deciding to go for the Execute play here. It does cost a lot of resources. Like one of your Executes against this kind of Warlock deck does cost a lot, but you do gain a lot from it as well, because your armor smiths stay alive. You get to stay in the game longer. I'm not too sure if Staz plays Brawl, but I would assume he does, because a lot of players do carry in that Brawl as like a safety measure. But Staz finding another copy of the Twilight Drake out on the field here, so looking at what Staz can do here. Shield Slam not going to be too useful, so I think he's going to coin for Shield Maiden for the next turn, and is just going to ignore the Twilight Drake and going to attack into Kapi himself. Or it actually looks like Staz is going to not sacrifice the Shield Maiden. Kind of looked there for a second if he was actually going to do that, but now Staz might be forced to do something with it, as the Defender of Argus joins the field as well, and Kapi more than happy to just attack into that one. Now here's the copy of Brawl I talked about. Like it's kind of a flavor of the month kind of thing. It some warriors play it, some don't. Like you wouldn't really consider it a staple like Death's Bite or Big Game Hunter. It's like it's kind of a personal preference, I feel.
I wonder.
So now back to Staz. Has the Brawl, and I think he's tempted to play it, but he would sacrifice a lot of his own resources as one. Like he hasn't really stacked any armor as well. All of his armor has pretty much diminished to 0. Looks like he is gonna attack at least with the Shield Main to generate a little bit of armor. Armors up some more, gets to have a total of 4 armor, then the Shield Slam, and has to sacrifice one of the armor smiths, but does get 2 armor in return. Passes over turn to Kapi, who, let's take a quick look here. Iron Beak Owl, Siphon Soul, Sledge Belcher, Sunfury Protector, Light. So Kapi can actually set up quite well. I'm expecting him to play Sledge Belcher at this point and just like attack into Staz with his Defender of Argus, because either way he is going to get a little bit of armor from that Armor Smith. So I guess the best thing to do is just try to chip away at it, because at one point it will crack if you do keep at it. Now Kapi bringing out the Dr. Boom. Does he have a Big Game Hunter in his pocket? No, he does not. And the Iron Beak Owl not going to help out too much as well. So now it's Kapi with the stronger board, or Staz with the stronger board here. And if Kapi does have anything to respond with it, like some really big creatures, and of course Staz can always play that Brawl, but that Shadow Flame might just come in quite handy now. doesn't have any giant to follow it up with. So one thing that Kapi can actually do right now is attack the Dr. Boom with one of his minions, and then Shadow Flame it, but looks like he is planning on playing his own Doctor here. Is taking a lot of damage. I'm not too sure why Kapi is actually actively attacking into the boom bots like this, but can't really tell. But anyways, Staz not with a brawl in his hand. Can't still use it, but looks like he is just gonna leave the field for what it is. Look out here, gonna die and give a little slime in response, and I guess that was what Staz was going for, getting rid of the Sludge Belcher. So if anything, so the chance is bigger that the slime will remain, and it looks like it is going to be one Boombot remaining, but that Boombot is going to die as well. A lot of chain reactions going on here, and now Staz is sitting at 28 health, while Kapi is sitting at a mere 16. So Kapi is slowly heading into giant territory here, sitting at 16 health right now. Can play to 1 if he wants to, but it is just going to be sniped down with the big game hunter the next turn. So Giant, Molten Giant, and the Sun Fury Protector join the field. Staz more than likely to respond with the big game hunter and attack. Will attack into the Sun Fury Protector with his weapon, which he has been holding on to for quite some time, and will allow him to finally swap out his weapon for Death's Bite.
I've got the beast in my sight.
So that giant sniped down, and the field again emptied. Staz the only one with a minion out on the field. Now Kapi with an Emperor Forest decides to instantly drop it. Dark Bomb to be chucked at that big game hunter. Now Kapi sitting at 14 health. And Staz does not have lethal just yet. The maximum amount of damage he can do is 12 at this point. So I'm kind of or actually can't even do 12 damage, excuse me. But it's a toss-up between Ragnaros and Death's Bite at this point, or you could even just drop the Sylvanas Windrunner if you want to, but leaving that Emperor Forest on is a risk because Kapi already got 1 mana cost increase from it, and getting a second one is quite beneficial. Ragnaros is going to launch itself into Kapi, and Kapi is probably going to play Jiraxxus in response, as he will still have the mana to summon an Inferno, or uses Inferno hero power, but is going to siphon the soul of Ragnaros instead. Is going to take the risk here. Emperor Forest still out on the field, is going to use its passive again next turn. So everything reduced by 1 again. The Iron Beak Owl now free to play. Harrison Jones pulled by Staz, and that it might be a crucial thing here, because if Staz decides to play to Harrison Jones right now, then Kapi will have no hesitation in playing the Lord Jiraxxus, as he knows his weapon won't get destroyed anytime soon. As Harrison Jones is pretty much the only card that can destroy weapons. Like there's like the Acidic Swamp Ooze, but you rarely see anyone playing it at all. So Death's Bite looks like to be the first choice for Staz.
What now?
I'm still wondering how Staz is going to play this now, because Kapi's in a really good spot, to be completely honest.
I have no time for games.
Like, and at this point, Kapi can even like summon the Lord Jiraxxus, bring out the Elemental, and silence the Sylvanas Windrunner as well, which I'm pretty sure he's going to do right now. So Lord Jiraxxus, thinking about it. I mean, it is essentially 6 free health. You do get an amazing hero power, and you just generate so much card advantage with it. Like, you still have your Taunter, you still can silence with the Iron Beak. Also, Sylvanas won't take any one of your minions.
You face Jiraxxus!
So 7 mana cost. Jiraxis being dropped here. Gul'dan being banished. And Jiraxis joins the fray. Ironbeak Owl comes in, and Kapi still had a Dark Bomb there to he can combo with the Sun Fury Protector. So Inferno gonna be dropped as well. 6/6 Infernal dropped by Kapi, and Kapi is in a great spot right now. Staz in a whole bunch of trouble. The cost of all the cards in his hand dropped again. Kapi already got three mana cost reductions off of this Emperor Forest sign. Harrison Jones being pulled there. That weapon destroyed 7 cards being pulled by Staz, but it might be a little bit too much as he's going through every single card in his deck. But is there anything that can save him at this point with 5 mana? Sludge Belcher might be able to help out at this point. Whirlwind will take care of 2 of the minions. And Acolyte of Pain is going to be dropped here, but Staz is going to run deck out, and if it comes to resources, Kapi is in a pretty good spot here. Execute on the Infernal. So Staz might still be in this one here. Kapi is thinking about how am I going to finish it off right now. Is going to play the Mountain Giant, seems like it. Because I don't think Kapi can actually deck out Staz at this point. And especially with Alexstrasza now being pulled by Staz, Kapi just has to win in one go. Inferno to summon an Infernal here. Kapi probably going to use that Shadow Flame to take care of that Inferno, or take care of the Harrison Jones and the Acolyte of Pain by killing off his Infernal, as it is more than strong enough to wipe out the rest on the field. Shield Block being the card drawn here. Staz filling up his hand yet again. 10 cards in hand. Shield Block. Shield Maiden has plenty of shields here, plus the Alexstrasza to help him out if need be. 9 cards in his deck, though 3 cards in Staz's deck. Another card being drawn. 10 armor is going to take care of that. Is going to take care of that giant. Kapi has another giant to reply with, though Hellfire not an option at this point as well. Can't even play the Mountain Giant at this point alongside an Infernal. So Kapi's kind of in a bad spot right now. Like, the loss of his weapon hurting him a lot here. I'm actually thinking, like, is he actually gonna double Hellfire? Or, like, is he actually gonna do that? Because there's always a chance that Staz has a Grommash Hellscream in hand. So double Hellfire is gonna be the play here. Infernal gonna be used to summon that Infernal.
I'm almost out of cards.
And Staz is out of cards, but there is the Grommash Hellscream, the top deck that Staz needed, and we are at 2-2 right now. So we are heading to a Game 5, the first Game 5 of this entire tournament.
Your soul shall be mine! I must protect the wild.
Hey there everyone, welcome back. Game 5, Staz versus Kapi, the first match in this tournament that went all the way to Game 5, or at least the only one that was casted at the very least. Looks like this is going to be a little bit of a faster game, as well as we're playing Warlock versus Druid here, so no grinded out warrior game, fortunately. But looks like this one might take a little bit longer than expected, as Kapi is sitting with the double anti-heal bot in his hand, alongside a Twilight Drake, Ancient Watcher, another Twilight Drake, and Immortal Coil and a Sludge Belcher. Staz is kind of hard pressed to find something to play here. Probably is going to play that Pilot Shredder next turn, or he's going to play that Keeper of the Grove to silence that Twilight Drake.
I must safeguard the land.
So it looks like that is going to be the play for Staz. Now Kapi just saying, okay, use one of your silence, here's another one of my Drakes. And Kapi traded out very efficiently. Like, it was pretty much a 4-1 for a 2-4, which was effective in its own right, because they were both costing 4 mana. And like, I think a silence is worth a lot more than like having a beefy minion, because silence does so much for you in this game. Dark Bomb to be chucked at the Pilot Shredder will drop Acidic Swamp Ooze, huh? Coincidentally, I was talking about that the previous game. That one will get destroyed as well. Kapi tapping again. Has his Lord Jaraxxus. Now Staz has his own way of generating card advantage as well, in the form of the Ancient of Lore. And I'm not sure if he plays the Izera in his deck. Like, some druids do, but a lot of druids have fluctuated towards Cenarius in the couple of past weeks or months or so. So Immortal Coil will allow Kapi to draw a card as well. Doesn't have a field at this point, but has 5 mana, so Sludge Belcher more than likely to be the drop for Kapi. Oh no, it's actually gonna life tap and drop Ancient Watcher in preparation of, well, I don't think anything really, because he doesn't have a Defender of Argus on his field.
Where shall I strike?
The Druid of the Claw taunting it up. Shapeshift coming in too, but Staz is going to attack into Kapi and not into the Ancient Watcher. Of course, trying to mitigate as much damage as possible. Second Sludge Belcher pretty much has to be played at this point. Now, Staz does have double Savage Roar, but sad thing is he didn't have a Force of Nature in hand while Emperor Forison was out on the field, so he can't really do that optimally. Like, because if he did, Force of Nature would be 5 mana, Savage Roar would be 2 for a total of 7, and the second Savage Roar for a total of 10. But nothing an Innervate can't fix, I guess. Now Staz thinking over his move, because he has to take care of the Sludge Belcher, but I don't think he wants to expend the Wrath or swipe on it, so is he actually going to go for a Cenarius play? Here is going to do so, gets double Treants out on the field, not even going to attack, so pass his turn. Now Kapi with a Sunfury Protector, which he was kind of looking for previously. So has to consider his moves carefully here. Hellfire will take care of the Treants at the very least, and it will put the Druid of the Claw in killing range for the Sludge Belcher. So let's see how Kapi wants to do this. He was hovering over his second Dark Bomb, but Iron Beak Owl to silence the Ancient Watcher gonna be the play, plus the Mortal Coil, so Kapi losing a couple of cards, not too many, though still has a good card advantage in his hand. And now Staz has pretty much nothing in his hand, except for the swipe and the wrap, so he has to draw a card with the wrap. Doesn't really have any other choice And he gets a Dr. Boom with that, so now he's pretty happy about getting that one. Kapi doesn't really have anything to take care of that Dr. Boom directly, so Staz can pretty much go to town with this one. Life Tap pulls out a Hellfire, but that's not gonna help too much, so Kapi decides to just recover himself with that anti-kill bot. Seems like, and to add insult to injury to 2 damage, landing into Kapi as well, who's now sitting at 22. But at the very least, Kapi can set up defenses here, forcing Staz to break through the taunters first. And Staz is just begging for a Force of Nature at this point. I feel that he might be forced to play the Harrison Jones to generate a little bit of extra field presence to get a bit extra minion out on the field. But the problem is, and we've seen that the previous game where Staz was playing Harrison Jones, Kapi did have a Lord Jiraxis, and Staz did manage to play that Harrison Jones versus that Lord Jiraxis. So I feel that he might want to save that Harrison Jones until Kapi actually brings out the Lord Jiraxis that's already sitting in his hands.
Shields up!
So look like Staz is facing off that Sunfreer Protector, it being used to taunt up that 33 anti-Q bot. So Staz, one play that he can do is he can just attack with the Boombot into little slime, and there's a chance that he will get a good hit on anti-Q bot. X's mana coming out first, of course, just to draw a card, and there it is, the Force of Nature that Staz has been looking for some time. Is he gonna use it? I'm kind of wondering if he is. If he does, then that will force Kapi to play defensive yet again. I mean, he does have another anti-kill bot to heal all the damage up that Kapi might be chucking at him, but Savage Roar plus the innervated Savage Roar is gonna come across, and now it is a lot of damage coming towards Kapi. The well played comes out, 4 damage landing, and I think this might be lethal. The bomb landing there, and that is lethal. 11 damage from Dr. Boom, and all the damage from the tree ants. Staz with an amazing double Savage Roar play will take it all the way towards the finals. So congratulations to Staz being our first